This is episode 67 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The Bengals are coming up on yet another prove-it game in what seems like a series of them lately. They slayed the Steelers Dragon in Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. They won on prime time last week, and now they're hoping to go win against an actual playoff contender. The Browns have a bit of a prove-it game too, coming up against their first good team since they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1. In the red-hot Los Angeles Chargers.
They are pretty red hot.
Yeah.
By the way, you called it. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see how the Browns handle it. Just because of, like I said, same criticism the Bengals have been getting lately. Quality of the competition the Browns have been playing. But finally, the Steelers probably have their last realistic chance to get a win until November this week. Because why, Thomas?
Because the Steelers aren't a dragon. They're little puppies. Because they still suck. You suck, Pittsburgh.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
Well, you know what? The thing about that is, I'm not saying the Steelers were this big, gigantic, terrible, evil team. That's they're evil for sure, but they're not this team that, I think is really all that great this year. Nobody's really being like, "Oh, you beat the Steelers! Wow, whippy, wow!" It's more like it's more like the Bengals just kind of historically have this mental block against the Steelers, and so typically, in years where we can beat them, especially in Pittsburgh, things tend to go pretty well for us.
I think people in the NFL are lining up to beat Pittsburgh up. That those memes of Family Guy made fun of it. It was from Airplane originally, where they're like, "Get your focus, come on, get your focus," and there's a line of people waiting to beat that person up. Yeah, this is what the Steelers are. Everybody trying to beat up the Steelers. Everybody's ready. Everybody's ready for their revenge. Everybody's just lining up. The Browns' revenge is going to be on Halloween Day, and tickets that day are going for, I think the cheapest ticket is going for like $350. People are excited to be at that stadium to see the Steelers get whooped on Halloween Day.
For sure.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun game.
So, before we get to all of that, why don't you tell me what you're drinking today, Thomas?
Today, I am drinking a Twisted Tea because it's a day to celebrate.
Are you sure you didn't start drinking that Twisted Tea before we started recording?
See, look, today's my off day, Kyle. So, I won't lie to you. I have been drinking today. I just haven't been drinking within the last. I don't know. I've just been drinking sporadically through the day. It's been a nice, relaxing off day.
Well, that's good. That's always a fun way to spend your.
And I dropped a new song today, so I'm celebrating.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. Go check out Thomas's new song. Got retweeted by a member of the Cleveland Guardians. The song is called Guardian. So that's a vote of confidence if I've ever heard one.
Go Guardians.
Today, I am drinking a. I don't actually even know what it's from the Founders Brewing Company.
Ooh, Founders.
I cannot. There we go. It says, I think it's called Nemesis.
Okay. I haven't heard of it. Founders is a good brewery.
My shit is way out of focus. What the hell is this? Am I looking blurry, on the camera?
No, I can see your acne pretty well.
Okay, that's not acne. Those are actually scabs.
Well, I can see your acne pretty well.
Okay. I don't know. It just looks blurry to me. But anyway, I think it's called Nemesis. It's by the Founders Brewing Company. And it's a barley wine style ale. So
okay, you sure it's not by the Founders Nemesis?
Oh, that's I don't like that. What the fuck is that? That is gross. I'm gonna drink it because I bought it, but ew.
By the way, Founders have a beer called the Founders All Day IPA. It's really good. Try that.
Might check that out, but if it tastes anything like this, no thank you.
No, that probably tastes better than that. What does it taste like?
It's like it kind of tastes like a porter. Like it's weird. Like it's got like a really like deep like almost chocolatey flavor to it. But like I mean, you can it like the aftertaste is almost like burnt. It's weird. I'm not a big fan of that. I won't be buying that again.
There's a lot of beer that I won't be buying again.
So shout out to the Founders Brewing Company. You successfully made the first beer that I ever had on this podcast that I didn't like. I think there might have been another.
I'm pretty sure there's another one. Yeah.
I don't remember disliking most of the beers. Cause I like most beer.
No, most of the beers you like. I didn't even start
the kinds I don't like.
I need to start drinking more than just Twisted Tea. By the way, I've been down in this thing. Well,
I believe Twisted Tea was the first beer you had on this podcast. Although it also might have been a Bud Light Lime.
It was one of those two. But I'll tell you one thing, I am definitely going through this thing because look how much I'm already done. I'm almost done. This is a big bottle. I need to be careful with these things. 5% alcohol. Not a lot, but it's enough.
All right. So why don't we go ahead and start getting into these games? So this is unlike last week, we actually get to preview both of the games at the same time because both teams are playing on Sunday this week. Like I said, both games are kind of a prove it game for both teams. The Bengals are kind of got a little bit of a prove it. Well, no, not a little bit, a lot of bit of a prove it game against the Green Bay Packers this week. I mean, it's going to be in Paul Brown Stadium. Home crowd's going to be there. You've been playing well lately, but you've also been, I wrote this up. I don't think I have this in my notes here, but I did write this up for Around the Block for my Packers-Bengals preview. The Bengals opponents that they've beaten are combined 2-10 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are like, who have you beaten? I mean, like everybody was like, oh, you're not going to beat the Steelers. And then we beat the Steelers and they're like, yeah, but they're bad. They don't count. And like, I think I'm a little closer to thinking that the Steelers are bad. They don't count. But I was kind of saying that before the game. I was like, if we beat the Steelers, that'll be awesome. I hate the Steelers. But at the same time, they're not very good this year. So I don't really know if that really counts as a big friggin' deal. But at the same time, I just wish people would be consistent. Like the same people who were saying you'll never beat the Steelers are the same people who are saying, yeah, but the Steelers suck. It's just like, come on, guys.
We got a name for those people. We call them haters.
That way that they are.
I'm also a hater. You suck, Carson.
He's not even playing.
I mean, I'm a hater. That's why I just told you I'm a hater. I'm a hater. I hate on Carson Wentz.
Okay.
And Urban Meyer.
So this game against the Packers could be huge for proving if the Bengals 3-1 start is legitimate or not. If you go out, you beat the Packers, which by the way, the Bengals are 2-1 against Aaron Rodgers all time. Just want to point that out. The Bengals have historically done pretty well against Aaron Rodgers. But if you beat the Packers, then everyone starts taking the Bengals seriously. Everybody's like, oh my God, they're 4-1. They just beat the Green Bay Packers, who are like a bona fide Super Bowl contender. This Bengals team might be for real. And I guarantee you, if the Bengals do beat the Packers, then I am projecting that the Bengals will go to the playoffs and win a playoff game.
Oh, dude. No, I mean, like the Bengals win this game. I just think the Bengals are. I've been saying the Bengals are a playoff team this whole year. Joe Burrow looks good. Ja'Marr Chase looks really good. Looks like y'all got a tight end. They got a diamond in the rough tight end down there. You got some good weapons. I'm really excited to see what this Michigan running back can do, and what's the other running back? Because what's up there, Mixon, by the way.
Mixon. Okay, so there's a lot of Mixon hasn't been practicing because he's got a sprained ankle, I believe. There's a lot of questions about whether or not he's going to be ready to play. What the Bengals said is if he's full go on Friday, he hasn't played yet. But if they feel that he's ready to go on Friday, and he goes like full speed on Friday, then he'll play on Sunday.
I got you.
So, I mean, usually what you like to see is did not practice on Wednesday, maybe limited on Thursday and then full practice on Friday. Well, he didn't practice 2 days in a row, so a lot of people are like, what the hell's going on? Now, I personally have a source inside the Bengals organization that not exactly not like a coach or anything like that, but I know somebody who works for the Bengals, and he told me that the feeling inside the building right now is that Joe Mixon is more likely than not going to be ready to play on Sunday. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he is going to play. I mean, there's, always things about precautionary this, figure out what's going that. But it sounds like in general, they do expect, they're really just like, he didn't practice 2 days in a row, mainly for precautionary reasons. And so it sounds like the general expectation is that he probably will be able to play. But again, we're talking about 60-40 here. And this is just the feeling. This isn't necessarily I'm not necessarily making a projection here. I'm just saying this seems to be the feeling within the Bengals organization that he should, keyword is should, be ready to go on Sunday.
Okay.
But we don't know for sure. Now, the big thing for Bengals fans that's huge there is that if they're thinking Mixon should go on Sunday, and then for whatever reason he doesn't go on Sunday, then just rest assured this is a pretty minor issue for Joe Mixon. So if he does miss one game, it probably won't be something that consistently bothers him. But then again, we said that last year, and we saw how many games he missed last year.
If Mixon doesn't go, who will be the backup options?
Samaje Perine. We actually because we recorded the fantasy portion of this before we did the main podcast.
Yeah, we talked about Samaje Perine. Yeah,
Samaje Perine got picked up by Brad in the fantasy league, and I mean that kind of makes sense because Samaje Perine is number 2 on the depth chart. He's the guy who would get the majority of the carries. I do believe though you're going to see if Joe Mixon doesn't go, you're going to see a lot more Chris Evans than you've been seeing.
Okay.
And I think Chris Evans is going to be a pretty consistent option as a receiving back. Samaje Perine will probably get the majority of the actual carries. But you could see Chris Evans being subbed in there for a lot of different passing packages that involve a running back. And also he's I think better than Samaje Perine at pass blocking. So you still don't have you still don't. You're not giving away what your play is by having Chris Evans in over Samaje Perine because you're probably going to be putting him in and out based on various different packages. But you're not giving away what play you're doing because there's a lot of different things that Chris Evans could do. I mean, you could, do jet sweeps and stuff with him. There's a lot of different things that the Bengals could do with Chris Evans in there. Or they could potentially run him too. From what I understand, he's a pretty good runner. It's just not something that, is necessarily his, his top skill set, which is why he probably wasn't drafted. That, in addition to the academic cheating issues, is probably part of why he wasn't drafted higher.
Yeah. So did I also see that Tyler Boyd was hurt too, or did I your facial expression? Did I also see that Tyler Boyd? Did I also see that Tyler Boyd was hurt, or was I did I misread that? Or
I think you might have misread that.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, let me look it up.
But he looked good. He looked good the last couple of weeks though. I gotta say, man, I'm a big Tyler Boyd fan. Shoot. You always say that he's the best slot receiver in the league. He's up there. I mean, I think that he's a very great. He's a great weapon. He's very fast. Man, he always he's always a reliable source for Joe Burrow. Now,
to answer your question, Tyler Boyd is not on the injury report.
Right,
the only T. Higgins is Stanley Morgan.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking of T. I was thinking of T. Higgins.
Also, Stanley Morgan's on the injury report, who is our arguably our number. It's hard to say because you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, you got Tyler Boyd, and those are your top 3, right? And those guys are really interchangeable as far as who's the number 1 and who's whatever. I mean, they're all really kind of the number 1. Jamar's the X, T's the Y, and Tyler Boyd's the slot. And then beyond that, you've got, I think, Auden Tate's probably the clear number 4, at least as far as talent goes. And then you got, so yeah, Stanley Morgan's probably the 6 because you got like Mike Thomas based on the fact like Zach Taylor loves him. So Mike Thomas is probably the 5. Stanley Morgan's the 6. And then you got Trenton Irwin on the team right now too, who's the 7. But you do have 3 wide receivers on the injury report for what that's worth. You got T. Higgins, Stanley Morgan, and Mike Thomas. Now, I currently expect them all to play, but honestly, as long as T. Higgins goes, I wouldn't worry at all about Mike Thomas and Stanley Morgan. Like, it's just like as long as we got as long as we got T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd, I think we'll be fine. And then Auden Tate too to mix things up. I mean, you don't need all those wide receivers. You really don't.
Okay, so I was thinking about T. Higgins. What I was thinking about, but now going to this game though. Can I give you my reaction to the game? Well, I think it's going.
That was my reaction to a big pass to.
I know.
Jackson.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking to do it right now.
But go ahead. I was
no, because like I'm watching it. Because like, all right, so because like I got my laptop because like usually because like the game is on NFL Network. I don't have the NFL Network set up on my TV yet, so like I have like the game. So like I had the game, I have like my stats and my notes like right here, like right next to it. So I'm trying to like flip back and forth through my stats and my notes and have the game. I should just put the game on my TV. Anyway, that's not here or there. So I actually, I'm actually really excited for this game between the Packers and the Bengals. Is it a 1:00 game? If I'm not mistaken, it is a 1:00 game, right?
It's 1:00 game, yeah.
So I say it's gonna be great for me because I could watch both the Browns game and then I watch the game and then go to the Browns game. I always find myself really excited to watch the Bengals play. See Joe Burrow, a big Joe Burrow fan. This is gonna be a litmus test for the Bengals. You going against Aaron Rodgers, and the storyline there, and the Packers. A lot of people pick the Packers to be in the Super Bowl or to win the Super Bowl this year, and Aaron Rodgers his name speaks for himself. But also, this is a team that looked vulnerable over the last couple of games too. The first couple of weeks of the season. This is usually the time where they take off. So this is not a cupcake opponent at all. This is not if y'all beat this team, like you said, this win is going to be legit. This is a game that you can circle on the schedule and say, this Bengals team is a team that y'all should be worried about. It's a team that you guys should look out for. I've been saying that all year, regardless, that this Bengals team is good. Like, when you look at the additions of defense, the Ogunjobis, the Hickersons. When you look at what they're doing on offense, you know how they're getting healthy at tight end. You see T. Higgins, he's coming into his second year looking good. I mean, he may be a little banged up, but he's going to be okay. You see Tyler Boyd, how you always say was the best slot receiver in the NFL, and you have Jamar Chase looking like one of the best rookie receivers that we have ever seen. Now I've been telling y'all that Jamar Chase, what was it? Dang, there was some stat that I said that I think Jamar Chase is going to do something. Man, I can't remember what it was.
Break the rookie receiving record?
Yeah, I said that he'd break the rookie receiving record for at least the Bengals or something.
Yeah, I believe
so. I cannot remember exactly.
Right. I think what you said is he was going to break the record that T. Higgins almost broke last year.
Yeah. And you said, nah.
Yeah, I still stand by what I said earlier, and the reason for that is because that record was the receptions record, the record for most number of catches in a season, and that's not going to happen because there's just way too many people to throw the ball to right now. I mean, you got Tyler Boyd, you got T. Higgins, you also got C.J. Uzama, playing the way he's playing. Like Jamar Chase, I think is going to make a huge impact this year.
He's going to be insane.
There's no way I think that he's going to get as many catches as Chris Collinsworth got his rookie year. That's just not going to happen. T. Higgins almost broke that record last year, but that was because it was like T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and that was like it.
Yeah, well,
top receiving weapons.
I mean, he might break some kind of yardage record, or touchdown record for receivers for the Bengals, though, for rookies receivers.
Quite possibly, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be. I'm with you though, because he's more of a big play threat. But there's always that big play that Joe Burrow have in Jamar Chase. And you said that he's slated to have a big game because of the injuries in the Packers secondary. I'm actually really excited for this game. For the Bengals, I think the stadium is going to be rocking down in the jungle. I love calling it the jungle. I don't call it Paul Brown Stadium. I just call it the jungle because when I
Most
was there,
people
that's
call it the jungle.
but that's all they called it when I was there. They're like, "Welcome to the jungle." I'm like, yeah, I like this. Welcome to the jungle. They come playing that song. Come on, reminding me of the new Jumanji movies. Welcome to the jungle. But no, I really do like the chances of the Bengals this game. Like, I really do like I'm really talking myself into this game for the Bengals. I like this young Bengals team. I really do. I think that they're very vibrant. I think that they really have to pose to the city in Cincinnati and opposed to the division in the AFC North.
Well,
And go ahead.
the way I see it, there's a couple of really key things as to why the Bengals. Certainly, I really do believe. We'll get to like who I actually pick in the predictions live stream after this, but I really do believe that there is a legit like not just a chance. I think there's like a legit like. I think the Bengals like really could, and maybe to an extent. I don't know about should, but I think the Bengals are absolutely able to be competitive with the Green Bay Packers. I definitely think that winning is something that's not this crazy boneheaded idea. I think it's absolutely realistic to think the Bengals could win this game. And part of it, you got some sort of music going on back there, Thomas?
Yeah, wait, hold up. Let's Google. Hey, yo, Google. Hey, Google. Shut up.
Okay.
Okay.
That was exciting. So there's going to be a couple of big things that are really going to influence this game. I think the main key to the game for me is the Bengals have, that defensive line has been playing so well lately. You got to keep playing well. You got to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers because I looked up the stat. It's insane. Aaron Rodgers, when Aaron Rodgers is under pressure, so his general quarterback rating for the Aaron Rodgers' general quarterback rating for the year, I want to say is like 118, or like something huge. He's done really well this year, as far as just general quarterback rating throughout the whole season. But the thing is, that drops off drastically when you get in the guy's face. So when he's blitzed alone, his quarterback rating drops to 85.1 over the season. When he's actually under pressure, meaning there's somebody in the backfield chasing him around, and and the offensive line didn't do their job, his quarterback rating drops to 39.7. This dude is not handling. What he can do is he can kind of sense things around him as they're kind of happening, and if he can get away from pressure, then he makes magic happen. He throws touchdowns. It's awesome. I saw a couple highlights of how he played against the 49ers, and it's all inspiring to see the way that guy works. When he's got that sixth sense going off, he can do something special. But over the course of an entire game, over the course of an entire season, if you're constantly pressuring him, he's going to make mistakes. And that's what's been happening this season. That's why they had to stave off a 49ers comeback. That's why they didn't. That's why they had to have this huge second half against the Detroit Lions. This Packers team is not perfect. By the way, that's a huge reason why the Saints did so well against them, because they got in his face and they got, they basically made him flustered. And that's one thing that Aaron Rodgers typically hasn't been throughout his career, somebody who gets heavily flustered, but he is doing that this season. So I think that Bengals defensive line, if the Bengals defensive line at the very least, it's if you can sack him, great, but at the very least, just get in his face. If you can get in his face, and Aaron Rodgers is going to make mistakes, and Joe Burrow is going to have more opportunities to go win this game. And Joe Burrow, I absolutely believe, is going to do that if he has the chance. The other key is all these goddamn injuries, man. We talked a few minutes ago about the Bengals injuries in this game. And for the most part, there's a couple of things. There's Joe Mixon. There's been this weird thing going on with Trey Hopkins where he hasn't been practicing with a knee issue. Now, I'm wondering if that has something to do with his ACL rehab, because don't forget, that guy just came back from his ACL injury like 6 months ago. So I mean, the fact that he's like, trying to take it easy on that knee right now, I don't really blame him for that. But there are some Bengals fans who are like, "Oh, he's not practicing. Is he going to play?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really too terribly worried about it though. But I might get worried about it if he doesn't practice again tomorrow. But right now, I'm not super worried about it. But yeah, Trey Hopkins isn't Trey Hopkins hasn't been practicing. Xavier Su'a-Filo hasn't been practicing. So you're going to see Jackson Carman starting again. And honestly, as long as he doesn't shit the bed, then I think Jackson Carman's just the starter anyway. So you're basically at that point, Xavier Su'a-Filo is a backup. Deontay Smith hasn't been practicing with some sort of illness, but he's also a backup. And then we talked about Joe Mixon isn't practicing. Don't know for sure if he's going to play. Sounds like the Bengals think he might, but that also doesn't necessarily mean he will. So on the Bengals side, it's like you got a couple of injuries to pay attention to, but nothing really serious. And like a lot of these guys that we had out against Jacksonville, like T. Higgins, Chidobe Awuzie, what's his name? Jesse Bates in particular. All those guys are projected to play. Jesse Bates hasn't even been limited in practice so far, so he's definitely coming back against the Green Bay Packers. You had Trey Waynes pop up on the injury report with a little bit of a hamstring issue today, which is kind of concerning because it's just like that's what's been keeping him out this whole time, and it's just like, ugh, not again. But, for the most part, it's a lot of little minor stuff that the Bengals are dealing with. You might be missing a couple of guys, but nothing really major. The Packers, on the other hand, they got some issues. Like Elton Jenkins, I believe – let's see, what was it? Elton Jenkins was limited today, but there's a good chance that he could miss the game. He's starting interior lineman for them. What's his name? Jair Alexander. 2 days in a row hasn't practiced. Very likely. He's one of their cornerbacks. Really, 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 really great cornerback. And to be completely honest with you, he's really the only member of their secondary who's all that impressive. So if they don't have him, Joe Burrow could have a massive day. It could be exciting, really. Josh Myers, I want to say he's a backup center. I actually don't know their depth chart off the top of my head, but he's a center that they just drafted out of Ohio State. He's not playing. I think he might be the backup, but I could be wrong about that. You had Chauncey Rivers. He's like a backup defensive end, but he just went on IR. So that's something to keep an eye on. Mercedes Lewis and Dennis Kelly both didn't play, but I don't think either of those are going to be long-term things. So yeah, the Packers are dealing with a ton of injuries right now, which, I mean, whether you believe that the Bengals are currently on the Packers level or not, might even out the playing field enough where the Bengals might be able to, not just, sneak away with a win, but have a pretty convincing win here. So again, I'm not necessarily ready to project anything just yet. We'll talk about that on the predictions live stream we're about to do. But I do think injuries are going to play a key part in this, just like I think the defensive line could play a key part in this.
Okay. I think that Joe Burrow's primed for a big game today or Sunday. But
I do think he could.
I think Joe Burrow's primed for a big game,
especially with that secondary. I think what was it? The Kevin King, who's the other starting. Now he's a little more embattled than Jair Alexander, but the other starting cornerback for the Packers, Kevin King. I read somewhere that he was not playing with a concussion, so that may be a thing. I actually don't really personally care if Kevin King plays or not because he's been picked on all season. So we'll see what exactly happens there. But it sounds like the Packers are going to have a pretty bad secondary to deal with this week, and so I do agree. I think Joe Burrow could have a huge game in theory, especially if it turns into a shootout, which it very well could.
By the way, look, man, well, never count out. That's the whole thing. Aaron Rodgers, man, he, I mean, like, it is worth saying. Aaron Rodgers is 37. And like, we got to realize what Tom Brady is doing. Like, Tom Brady is like the extreme anonymous. Like Ben Roethlisberger is the absolute example of what happened to 90% of quarterbacks when they hit that age. When they hit those upper 30s, that's usually when they start to fall off that cliff. Like, it's really hard to play quarterback in the NFL. It's really hard to play in the NFL in your
Unless
40s,
you're
no matter
Tom
what
Brady
position.
and you're a literal robot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Drew Brees did it. Drew Brees did well, but honestly, you really think about it, Drew Brees.
He didn't do that
Drew
well
Brees.
last year.
That's what I was just about to say that. Drew Brees started to tail off, and in that last season, Drew Brees he kind of. I mean, and Peyton Manning. Like, you look at him when he started to approach 40 and how he was good, and then it kind of happened suddenly. I think Aaron Rodgers still probably has I'll probably say he probably still have a good 2 or 3 years left. At least.
So,
But you just watch out at age.
Real quick, one last thing I wanted to discuss, and this is a little rant that I kind of need to go on before we move on to the Browns, because we've been going on the Bengals for quite a while now. So how do I put this? Ohio State fans, stop claiming Joe Burrow as an Ohio State quarterback. It's ridiculous. He was not like, I remember back in the 2019 or 2020 draft, like after the 2019 season, and all these Ohio State fans, man, were all like, oh, we got to go get Chase Young. Andy Dalton's going to be fine. Like, let's go get Chase Young instead of Joe Burrow. That's who we got to draft at number 1 overall. And, blah, 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 because, any Ohio State player is just immediately going to be an automatic Hall of Famer, no matter who they are, including Carlos fucking Hyde, and including Dwayne fucking Haskins, including Cardale fucking Jones. Every single one's a future Pro Football Hall of Famer, no matter who they are, because that's how Ohio State fans fucking are. So anyway, I'm just getting sick and tired of because that's the way Ohio State fans were leading up to the draft. And now that Joe Burrow is in Cincinnati and Joe Burrow is tearing up the NFL and he's doing really, really well, suddenly Ohio State fans are like, oh, you remember, don't you guys forget, oh, Joe Burrow is an Ohio State quarterback. He is our guy. Go Ohio State. Look at this great player we put in the NFL. And I'm just like, are you guys kidding me? Like, Urban Meyer. That's a topic right there. Urban Meyer.
Oh yeah, we will get to that
Dwayne Haskins over Joe Burrow and basically turned Joe Burrow into a recruitment bust for Ohio State. And he didn't do shit. He had to transfer to go have any type of career. Everything he built for himself, as far as the NFL draft is considered, as far as any sort of NFL anything is considered, happened at LSU. None of it happened at Ohio State, except for maybe some of that motivation to go be great because they didn't believe in him at Ohio State. Like, this crap from Ohio State fans is just getting on my nerves so much. And it's like, no, he was not an Ohio State quarterback. You cannot claim him as an Ohio State quarterback, other than the fact, yes, he played at Ohio State sort of in some practices for, about 3 years, but he did not make nothing he did in college that was worth a damn happened at Ohio State. He wouldn't have been drafted if he had stayed at Ohio State. He probably wouldn't have an NFL career right now if he had stayed at Ohio State. He probably would have not gotten drafted. I don't know if he would have made it to the NFL in the first place, gotten signed with the team. But even if he did, he wouldn't have learned all that stuff he learned at LSU. He wouldn't have met all those people he met at LSU. He wouldn't have developed the same way because Ohio State failed him as an organization.
Yep.
And so for Ohio State fans to constantly, especially in particular, I'm talking about Bengals fans who are Ohio State fans, for y'all to claim Joe Burrow as your guy. And I mean, by all means, feel absolutely free to claim Joe Burrow as a great Bengals quarterback. If you're a Bengals fan who's also an Ohio State fan, feel free to be like, Joe Burrow was so great. I love this amazing Bengals quarterback. But to say he's a great Ohio State quarterback is such shit, dude. Come on. Get your head out of your ass for real.
Keep in mind, Urban Meyer picked picked JT Barrett over Joe Burrow. Let's just remember that.
He picked Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He picked James. Well, both of them played with Joe. If I'm not mistaken, but wasn't both of them playing while Joe Burrow was? I mean, like JT Barrett, I get it because JT Barrett was already there, right? And then
I
he
think
picked
Joe
Dwayne.
Burrow had a broken hand when JT Barrett was there.
Nah, that's true. Okay, I give you that. But he did pick Dwayne Haskins over Joe Burrow.
I'm just saying, y'all can't change what
you also picked Tim Tebow over
now.
Cam Newton.
Right. I'm just saying y'all can't change your tone now just because the results are different. Just because you've seen the results now and they don't favor this narrative that you have, you can't change what you're saying now because you already said it.
Dang, they're getting too rough to Wilson. By the way, I'm gonna wait to tell the predictions to ask this question. But you can save your answer for the predictions. So if y'all want to know the answer to this question, watch the predictions. Which week or how long until Urban Meyer is either let go, he quit, or he's fired? Save your answer. Save your answer for the.
I absolutely will save that for the predictions episode.
By the way,
for those of you who don't know, we do a live stream on YouTube during the Thursday night game and Monday night game every week. Is that even legal? What the fuck?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I wanted the same thing. You talk about the punter, right? The punter just fumbled. So for y'all, if y'all watch the Thursday night game, what happened was the punter. First of all, Russell Wilson. Y'all know the results of this game. We don't already. Right now, they're losing 7-16 with 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Russell Wilson's getting his butt kicked, and you got Geno Smith warming up on the sidelines with Russell Wilson's fingers twitching. But the punter just got hit.
Both picked the Seahawks. That's looking great right now.
Yeah, so the punter just got his shit blocked after trying to punt it, and then he picked it up, and then instead of trying to run it, he picked it up and then just punted it again. He looked like he was getting ready to throw it. He just ran. He just ran for the first down.
That may, he might. Well, he's a punter. I don't think he would have done that. But
he had open space. I'm looking at it.
In fairness, he didn't get to the line of scrimmage, so maybe you're allowed to punt it from there. Punting is older than the forward pass in the NFL, so I think it might just generally have different rules. Yeah, that's weird to think of, isn't it? But like punting existed long before the forward pass existed.
No, I mean you're right. It makes sense, but just like damn. But I mean, but on a low, like it's a genius move because like, what's the worst going to happen? They're gonna get it. Are they gonna lose it down for this?
And it ended up being a really good punt too.
The worst thing is going to happen is they're going to move them back 5 yards and they're going to have to punt again, right? Unless they lose it down, right? Do they lose it down for this?
If they lost it, that'd be ridiculous.
Here.
There's no foul. Yeah, okay. So
dang.
Yeah, there's no foul. Okay, so I mean, I think they had all that rigmarole because like I thought I was like, is that even legal?
I thought it was illegal too.
But I didn't think it was illegal. I just didn't know if it was. It looked really weird. But I mean, like technically, like I said, he
punted it twice. He punted it twice though.
But you can. I'm pretty sure you can punt whenever the hell you feel like it.
Because like you get the ball back to the opponent. You're like, here you go, opponent.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure you can punt. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure he didn't even have. If you go past the line of scrimmage, I'm pretty sure you're allowed to punt it from the.
All I know is that guy's a genius. That guy's a genius.
This is the kind of content y'all are going to get on the live stream, by the way. So we'll try not to do this too much on the actual podcast itself, but on the live stream on YouTube, you're going to get a lot of content with us, like making our predictions and watching the game. So that was just really fucking weird. And so we'll try not to do that again while we're recording. But I just completely could not. Let's get to the Browns, Thomas.
This is gonna
Let's talk about the Browns and the Chargers. So also a bit of a prove it game. this week. It's not quite on
Yeah.
the same level as the Bengals because I think everybody kind of knows the Browns are probably pretty good. Like everybody
Yeah.
is considering the Browns to be like, a playoff contender, maybe a dark horse Super Bowl contender or something like that. So the Browns don't necessarily have to prove that they're good. But at the same time, you know how I said
you don't want to lose games like this.
You know how I said the teams that the Bengals have beaten are combined 2-10 right now, right? Well, the teams that the Browns have beaten are combined 4-8, so it's not that much better. So I mean, especially after that really ugly game against the Vikings last week, there could be something that could be said about maybe the Browns need to go out and actually beat somebody worth beating. Because I mean, the only team that y'all have played, worth talking about is the Chiefs, and you lost that game.
Yeah. The Brown defense looks great right now. I'm not worried about the defense. Special teams look great.
The defense is not the problem.
The running backs look great right now. The biggest problem with the Browns right now is, and Kyle, it freaking tears my soul to say this because I still believe in this. I still believe in Baker Mayfield. The biggest problem for the Browns right now is Baker Mayfield. So
that hurt your soul to say, didn't it?
Yeah, the biggest problem for the Browns right now is Baker Mayfield. I'm not gonna say, but here's the thing though. I think that he's gonna come back. I think he's gonna come back. So if you haven't read the news, the big news today is Baker Mayfield it's been revealed that Baker Mayfield has a torn labrum in his left shoulder. Now, I've been spending all day, my entire off day. You heard earlier in the podcast, today's my off day. I've been spending my entire off day just studying labrum tours. Here go a fun fact about me. I tore my labrum, and that shit hurts. Just like OBJ said, that shit hurts. So the thing is that my healing process was I elected not to get surgery. Actually, the doctor elected me not to get surgery because the doctors like to exhaust every option. It took about 2 weeks. I felt a lot of pain in my shoulder. I felt a lot of pain in my shoulder for about 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks of just trying to get the ice, heal it and stuff, the pain pretty much went away. But then after those 2 weeks of just resting, ibuprofen and stuff like that, I started to do rehab, and I only done 2 rehab days a week. And after about a month, I started to feel more confident in my shoulder. In about 2 months, 3 months, it started really to heal up. And that was a partially tore labrum tear on my right arm, and that was from not only doing physical therapy for 2 days. So this is on his non-throwing arm. This is on his left arm. So he's probably so I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Do not take my expertise. This is just from my personal experience and from what I'm hearing. Usually, if it was me, one thing that I would say from the labrum tears, and a lot of things that I hear from a lot of people from labrum tears, those first 2 weeks are always the worst. Because that's when you have the most information and you have the most. That's when you're feeling the most, and that's when it swells and stuff, and all that great stuff, all that great scientific stuff. But what you want to do is basically just strengthen the muscles around it. And I'm guessing Baker Mayfield probably has the best doctors in the world working on his shoulder right now, making sure that his left shoulder is just feeling comfortable. But what it is at this point, it's just discomfort. The most important thing is for him not to fall on it in an incorrect way, because he could get hit and be knocked out for the season at this point, because his injury isn't a joke. But at the same time, it's the best worst injury you could have. Is the best way I could describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the best worst injury you could have.
So,
did you? Because it's left shoulder.
Did you hear what Odell Beckham Jr. said about that?
Yep, everything. All right, cool. So, there was a part in the interview where they asked Odell Beckham about the injury specifically. He did say, you heard it right there. He said that it is about toughness, and it's going to hurt Baker Mayfield throwing across his body. I remember when I had my labrum tore hurt the front of my shoulder, and it hurt my the back area of my back too as well. So it hurt this whole area of motion. So it does linger across your body, across your chest. So I'm not sure if when he throws, he's feeling that pain, that jerk motion from his left shoulder. But Dr. Antonelli, the one of the best physicians in Cleveland, did say on Twitter today that Baker can play on a high level on with that partially shoulder torn, but what he has to do is that he has to go through a lot of lifting exercises, strong physical therapy, and he's just going to tough it out. I think that this is going to be something that's going to get better with time, obviously. But I think that he should be fine. I think that we've probably seen the worst of it last week, and I just think that it just comes from mental toughness. He looked good throwing in practice today, but it's just. I mean, like, I just don't know how much it hurts right now. None of us do. And that's what's holding me back on this, because I know what a labor tear feels like. I know how much that hurts. Like, I just know how much that hurts. Like, I mean, like, I didn't sleep for almost a week because, like, you just roll on it the wrong way while you're sleeping, and you're just like, oh my God. And that's just some pain. That's just a pain that a lot of people just do not know unless you experience it yourself. It's a very unique pain, and it's not something that's easy to get used to. So so that's so I really hope that he's going to be okay for this game. He's obviously going to go. He looked good throwing in practice today, so we're going to see what happens on Sunday.
So the part about what Odell Beckham Jr. was talking about that I was referring to was the part where he said he's been playing on a torn labrum for 10 years.
10 years, yep.
And so do you know where Odell? I am personally 1 year older than Odell Beckham Jr. He actually like his NFL draft class was the same draft class that I would have graduated from if I didn't have brain surgery in college. But then me and you would have never met, and this podcast would never happen.
See, everything happens for a reason. Exactly. I made that in the nicest way possible.
Well, I agree. You know, it was annoying at the time, but more than annoying, it was devastating at the time. But you know, life happens, and you just got to kind of move along with it. But anyway, Odell Beckham Jr. Do you know where he was 10 years ago?
10 years ago, you're probably in high school, right?
Yeah, he was at Isidore Newman High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. So wow. You're telling me that Odell Beckham Jr. tore his labrum, didn't do anything about it, and has been torn this whole time, and he still managed to be a number 12 overall draft pick.
Very possible.
Win the BCS championship with LSU.
Very possible.
And go off and have this like amazing career with New York Giants, and then go off and play, you know, more years with the Cleveland Browns. And this entire time he has a torn labrum that never got addressed. I don't know. That seems kind of sketchy to me. Like, was it torn or was it aggravated?
No. What I'm saying is that he might not have had it. He might. I mean, like, what he might be saying, because like I got my labrum is torn. As we speak, my labrum is torn right now. I got. What you do is you got. So what the doctor explained to me, what my doctor told to me, this is what my doctor said to me, is that that it's a very common injury. Usually the people that have to have surgery is obviously the pitchers, quarterbacks, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Somebody like me who's not dependent on my Geno Smith is in. Anyway, that's not here or there. Somebody like me who's not dependent on who don't need to do those throwing motions as much. So they wanted me to do is just to lift and to strengthen the muscles around it. And if I don't feel no pain and I'm still able to do all my exercises and I'm still able to do everything I need to do, there's no point in them going to surgery for me. It's very possible that Odell Beckham tore his left shoulder, his left labrum. Now, granted, he has more doctors at his disposal than I do, so he could go and get that injury taken care of. But at the same time, if you're in high school, if we're saying he was in high school when that happened, and it's a very common injury for a lot of high school football players, they probably just had him lift it out, rehab it out to a point where he didn't feel the pain anymore, and he was able to just avoid the pain from the injury to the point where he just didn't feel it. There's a lot of people out there with labrum tears. There's a lot of people out there with labrum tears. This is one of the most common sports injuries there is. Like I say, is the meniscus tear of the shoulder. It's very comparison to the meniscus tear. A lot of people tear the meniscus and they elect not to get surgery on it. So it's very possible. I'm not saying that he's telling the truth or he's BSing, but I'm just saying that it's a very possible thing. And I just know, like, it's a tough injury, but it's very possible. It's very possible to play on that, especially as a receiver.
Well, anyway, just to go ahead and wrap up this segment because we're starting to run a little long here. Let's see how Baker Mayfield can do on that torn labrum going up. He's going to need to outplay Justin Herbert.
I think he'd be fine. Look real quick. Baker does great in these pressure situations, and this is one of those situations where they always dare Baker Mayfield to throw. Anytime, every single game that people say these things about Baker Mayfield. People have selective memory when it comes to Baker Mayfield. So they remember when they always say that Baker Mayfield, he didn't close the game against the Chiefs. But they don't forget the fact that Baker Mayfield beat the Bills when the Bills were rising a couple years ago and they had one of the best defense in the league on a game-winning drive. And I don't remember the game-winning drive that he had against the Bengals. They don't remember the fact that he hurt his shoulder last year. And then he actually stayed pretty efficient. He stayed compatible. All Baker has to do is just be a leader. You do have those two-headed monsters, and you do have some great receivers, some fast receivers. I don't know, man. I don't think Baker Mayfield is going to play that poorly this game. I think last game is as poor the performance you're going to see from him this year. I think you're going to see something better.
We will see what happens because it's going to be interesting to see how that really great Browns defense goes up against Justin Herbert, who's just been playing out of his mind.
He's playing out of mind. Geno Smith right now.
All right, Thomas. So let's go ahead and jump into this fantasy outlook. See what's going on with the fantasy football league this week.
Okay.
Right now, there's only 2 undefeated teams left in the league, and that's my team, the Mixon administration. What'd you say?
Show off. I said show off.
I'm just being honest. Like if it had been your team, I would have said your team. And then it's also Michael Dorsey from Hanging with Hernandez.
You mean Michael Dorkey?
You're never going to get over that, are you?
He's always going to be Michael Dorkey in my heart.
The funny thing is he thought it was hilarious. I think.
Yeah, I thought.
But I'm going to try to call him by his actual name.
I'm not.
But right now,
love you though. You're awesome. Thank you for listening to the show.
Yeah, anybody who's listening, thank you. But especially you, Michael Dorsey.
Yeah, Michael Dorkey.
I think I want to say he was the one who says. I had somebody hit me up. And they said that they like to listen to the show while they're working on their car, while they're like they're a car mechanic, and so while they're working on cars, they like to listen to our podcast. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I'll take that.
Oh yeah, see, that's really good. See, I like that. I like that. That just made me happy.
Him, but it might have been somebody else. But I think
well, whoever it is, you go ahead and do your little car mechanic up. Here, man. Look, we're gonna give you a shout out in the show when it's time to give you a shout out. Shout out to the car mechanics, y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I'm projected to beat Cameron Matthews' Renegades. Actually, on that note, I think I think it was Kyler Murray in particular who is just projected to kind of be the difference in that particular game. Hold on, Yahoo is being extremely slow right now.
Yeah, of course. You're the one who chose Yahoo Fantasy.
Look, I'm just saying they have the best tools. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, just have a boring interface like they have on NFL.com or a glitchy interface like they have on ESPN.
All I know is DK Metcalf better have a game today. You better have a game today. You already got 3 points and 1 catch. Excuse me.
We will see. By the way, Thomas, we need to before all of this is done, we need to. By the way, just so you know, guys, we're actually recording this before everything else because of a little bit of a time issue we have right now. So, Thomas, real quick, Seahawks or Rams tonight?
Oh, Seahawks or Rams? Ooh, this is a good Thursday night game. I'm trying to get it up on my computer right now, but before I get it up, who's home? That's the difference.
That's a good question.
As you can see, I don't have the game up yet. I'm trying to get it up. But whoever home, that does make a difference. Let's see. Looks like
the Seahawks, I think. It's in Seattle, I believe. Don't quote me on that just yet.
okay, yeah, the Seahawks are home.
The
All right,
Seahawks
yeah,
are home? Okay.
yeah, Seahawks are home.
That could be a difficult one then. The score is the game has already technically started, but the score is 0-0. So I say that these predictions count.
I'm gonna go with the. That's tough. You know, I'm gonna go with Wilson on this one. No, yeah, I mean, like I know the Rams look tough and Sam Darnold's looking good, but Russell always find ways to win the big time at home and big time games. So give me Wilson.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like what the Rams are doing right now, but I
love what the Rams are doing.
It's Seattle in Seattle, and the Rams kind of stumbled last week. So, I mean, we'll see kind of what happens. The Seahawks are definitely not without their flaws. I think that defense can definitely be a little up and down, but I do think I tend to agree with you on this one. I think it's probably Seattle's game to lose on the whole. So I'm going to go with Seattle on this one too.
All right, cool. We say that as Wilson just threw a pick.
Did Russell Wilson really just throw a pick? Jesus
he
Christ.
Literally that was the first thing that as soon as I turned the game on, the first thing that comes up, the Rams are taking the ball.
Well, just so you know, this is true. We really don't have any idea what's going on yet. So I think it is pretty fair that we're making these predictions because we haven't actually seen any of the game yet. Now, I mean, we probably should have done it before we started, but oh well. Anyway, getting back to this fantasy league before I have to go. Like I said, Kyler Murray actually projected to have not quite as good of a game as I was expecting him against the 49ers. I mean, divisional matchups and especially Kyler Murray. I don't know. I think he's going to do a little bit better than 24.9.
I just started Latavius Murray.
Looks like on the whole, I've got better projections than Cameron Matthews Renegades. Not really liking what I'm seeing as far as a projection from Trey Sermon, but I think until he becomes kind of like the main running back, that's what his projections are always going to be. But I think he's going to probably get a few red zone opportunities. So that's mainly why I've been keeping him in there.
Okay.
I'm kind of wondering if I should, because I don't know, I'm kind of riding with the Bengals defense, even though they didn't do great against Jacksonville, but I don't know. I got a good feeling about the way they're going to play against Aaron Rodgers, mostly because Aaron Rodgers doesn't, at least this year, historically has not done particularly well when he's been under pressure. So and that's one thing the Bengals really good at doing this year is creating pressure. So I'm thinking the Bengals, they had a bad week against Jacksonville as far as defensive fantasy is considered. But I think I could see them having a bounce back week this week against Green Bay, which just seems kind of insane. They sucked against the Jaguars, but they're going to be good against Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know. I got a feeling, Yeah,
I feel it. Trust me. I go with my feelings all the time.
Well, there you go. Brad McGee and Debbie Morgan are matching up in probably the most notable game of this week. Neither of them are undefeated. But they are both 3-1, and Debbie only just lost last week to me. This one, I think Debbie and Brad's matchup could potentially be something worth watching as far as the final playoff standings are concerned. Don't forget, only 6 teams are going to make the playoffs. So
I gotta get my shit together. I gotta get my shit together.
Yeah, who are you playing this week, Thomas?
I'm projected to win, actually. I'm playing. Thomas also team is playing somebody with a Bengals logo.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody perfect.
Actually funny. It was actually funny. That guy who runs that team is not a Bengals fan.
Oh, I need to beat him because I need the only way I can beat him is Baker Mayfield freaking have a good game.
Yeah. You are projected to win this matchup. Looks like you smartly took Dimitri Felton out of your lineup. It's
Yeah, I
projected to
put
have less than a point.
I put in
Jeez.
Latavius Murray. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, like, I don't know. I kind of gamble with Dimitri Felton because I just the Browns got to have a breakout receiver out of one of those receiver corps. I mean,
I,
we'll talk. I mean, the whole Baker Mayfield injury thing right now is concerning. We'll get to that later. But
I will say though, this is like right now. Part of the reason he's projected so low as far as points is considered is because he's got Calvin Ridley in. And Calvin Ridley's out for the Jets. If I had to bet what he's probably going to do, like just before Sunday's games, he's probably going to put Jacoby Myers in over Calvin.
Don't give him
Ridley.
ideas. Don't give him ideas.
Well, that's
well because if he's listening to the show, I don't need him to beat me. I'm trying to beat him.
Look, honestly, if he's listening to the show, he's probably paying attention. If he's listening to the show, he's probably paying attention to Fantasy League. And don't forget, like I said, he's a Saints fan, so I don't know why he'd necessarily be listening to this podcast anyway.
Hold on. First of all, we welcome all football fans, especially the Colts fans, because the quarterbacks suck. You suck, Carson.
We do welcome all football fans, but I'm not going to lie. All of the content's about the Bengals and Browns, and sometimes about how much the Steelers suck.
And Carson Wentz. You suck, Carson.
Well, yeah, but I mean, those are just shots. That's not really content. So
how is it not content of me telling Carson Wentz he sucked? You suck, Carson.
Point is, if John is listening, then that's great. But I doubt he's listening. And even if he is listening, if he's listening, he's probably paying attention to the Fantasy League. And if he's paying attention to the Fantasy League, he's probably going to sub Calvin Ridley out, and he's probably going to put Jacoby Myers in, which honestly, Thomas, is not really that great of an option because I believe if I recall correctly, like the last 2 weeks, Jacoby Myers has done okay. He's at about 13 points both the last 2 weeks, but before that he was doing terrible. And I had him on my fantasy team last year. He's one of those guys who in theory should do pretty well, but rarely actually does, at least from a fantasy perspective. So I mean, he's projected to have 12.3 points. I don't know if he's even really going to hit that. So, I mean, even if he does make the sub out, you should be pretty good. And you will still, I think, technically still be projected to win because those 12 points that he's going to get from Jacoby Myers is going to raise up his projected his projected points to, I think, 105-ish?
Yeah.
Which would still be under what you have. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. Right now, you're projected to have 105.84 because of the live projection. Originally, you were projected to have 109. So, I mean,
I hate these. I just need DK Metcalf to have a big game today. Metcalf, have a great game today. Like, you better ball the hell out. He got this shit together.
He's already got a 25-yard catch.
Yeah, well, I need him to have about 4 more of those.
Like a pretty touchdown. Pretty long reception there. Yeah, if he has 4 more of those and a touchdown, you're going to have 20 points there alone.
Well, I'd take those 20 points alone.
Well, there you go.
Plus more, because I'm going to need more than 20 points alone to beat this guy.
Right.
You suck, Carson Wentz. I just want to put that in there.
It's starting to get about that time where I think it's worth not so much in the NFL because the NFL is so fucking 17 weeks and we're only going into week 5 right now. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But as far as our fantasy league goes, because the playoffs start, I believe, in week 15. I think it's a good time to start kind of talking about the playoff race. Like I said, don't forget there are only 6 teams right now. The teams projected to be in there are me and Michael Dorsey are projected to get the number 1 and number 2 seeds, which would be which would give us a playoff bye for week 15. So we don't have to play that week, and then we go on and play whoever wins the wild card. And those wild card teams are Cameron Matthew of Renegades, Debbie Morgan from Debbie's Unmatched team, Brad McGee from the annexation of Puerto Rico, and DJ McNutt of Dunder Mifflin Knights 740. So right now, that's what we're looking at as far as the playoffs is considered. And I mean, Thomas, you're not too far off because I mean, a lot of those wild card teams are all 3-1 right now. So I mean, you're 2-2. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I just get a good win this week, and I'll be good.
Yeah, you get a win this week, and you'll be right there in the conversation. Especially like I said, right now I'm projected to beat Renegades, Cameron Matthews Renegades. So if that holds, then you'll have the same record as him. Debbie Morgan right now is projected to win, so that doesn't. But she's projected to beat Brad McGee, who's another one of those playoff teams. And then DJ McNutt is currently 2-2 actually. So if he loses this week, you'll definitely get a playoff spot over him as long as you win.
Okay.
So I mean, you're like right there.
Okay. Now I'm excited.
There you go.
Now I'm excited. I think I'm about to make a playoff run. Do you think Tyshawn Williams is going to get more carries than Latavius Murray for the Ravens?
That's a good question. More carries, maybe. More scoring opportunities, maybe not. Because I think Latavius Murray right now is like kind of the guy who actually let me look that up. I don't know.
David Murray isn't bad, but I'm just worried that like this Tyshawn Williams guy is going to come up behind him, and go like, "Nope, this is my job now. I'm the captain of the ship."
Let's see. Right now, the 2021 Ravens. Right now, the team leaders for rushing is Latavius Murray is the. Oh, that's not true. God damn it. Lamar Jackson leads the team in rushing by a wide margin. But I was correct. Tyson Williams is kind of like eating up a lot of the yardage. And he's actually having some really good runs. But Latavius Murray is like the main featured back. He's the one that's getting the majority of the attempts, and he's the one who's gotten in the end zone the most times. So it seems to me like Tyson Williams is kind of there to be like the change of pace back. Who kind of has a lot. He has the opportunity to get a lot of like those big runs and stuff like that. But Latavius Murray is the one who they like. When they need somebody to count on, that's the guy they go for. So, I mean, if we're talking about from a fantasy perspective, I would definitely put in Latavius Murray over Tyson Williams.
All right. So
then when the Ravens play the Steelers, you got Le'Veon Bell, who's on the team now. I believe.
Okay.
I believe I heard he got called up.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably something we'll talk about in the state of the AFC North too, because I cannot wait. Oh, look, Brad just did something.
Thank God. Okay, thank you, DK.
DK Metcalf do something. Holy shit, Brad's fucking doing a lot right. Like literally as we speak, Brad's making moves. So he just added Samaje Perine for some reason. I don't know what he thinks that's gonna do.
Well, DK Metcalf just scored. So
Joe Mixon is out, so maybe that's not a terrible move. But I don't see Samaje Perine getting a lot of like production this week. I think the Bengals are going to rely pretty heavily on Joe Burrow. I think Chris Evans, like you mentioned in the last episode, I think Chris Evans is going to get a lot of like the receiving touches and stuff like that. So I don't know if I would go with Samaje Perine necessarily. But that's what Brad did. He picked up. Wait, what the hell?
Oh, I got another.
So here's what he did. Within the last 2 minutes, Brad added Robbie Anderson and dropped Rashad Penny. Then he dropped Robbie Anderson to pick up Samaje Perine. So I'm just like, why did you pick up Robbie Anderson in the first place?
Hey, Robbie Anderson's available now?
Robbie Anderson's available.
I'm good on receiver though, especially with DK Metcalf making touchdown catches like that.
Yeah.
19-yard touchdown referee.
Unfortunately, I have the game on right now because I have to leave in a second to go pick Connor up from work.
Okay, so my team from my other league, I have I'm playing a guy for first place, right? So I want to start Nick Chubb and Chase Edmonds at running back because those been like both of them have been like really good. Wait, hold on, let me make sure Chase Edmonds is healthy. He's listed as questionable, but he didn't participate in practice Thursday. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start those two. If Edmonds ever ready to go, I'm gonna go with him. So, and then I'm gonna start Jamar Chase over DeAndre Swift. Is that smart or dumb? Because my other two receivers are Stephon Diggs and Godwin, so I gotta start them.
Who are the
Also,
Lions playing?
What?
Who are the Lions playing?
The Lions are playing Minnesota. Minnesota, yeah, they're okay against the run, but they're not like
Yeah.
they're not locked down.
I think I would play Jamar Chase because the Packers. We'll talk about this. Actually, well, as you're watching this, we will have already talked about it on the main section of the podcast. But the Packers have a lot of injuries in the secondary, and they might be missing their best cornerback for possibly.
And then y'all did have a long week.
And we did have a long week. That's not necessarily always a great thing as far as like in Bengals history, bye weeks aren't exactly kind to us. But the Packers do have a reduced secondary right now. So, I mean, normally the line of thinking is go with the starting running back over a receiver anytime. But I think Jamar Chase might be primed to have a big day. But then again, I mean, with the Bengals' weapons, it could be Tyler Boyd who has a big day. It could be T. Higgins who has a big day. I mean, you really never know. That's the one problem with like putting any of these Bengals receivers in fantasy is because there's 3 elite options at receiver. You don't really know who's going to get the touches. And it does sound like T. Higgins is going to be back. So,
yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yep. So I guess I didn't really answer your question. I told you. I think what I said was Jamar
you said go with Jamar Chase. Yeah.
I said Jamar Chase probably has a chance to be. I think Jamar Chase has a higher upside, but DeAndre.
I'm going with Jamar Chase.
Safer option.
Well, I'm playing the first place guy, so I'm gonna need all the points I can get. So, but that's my team. My team. But my team that league loaded.
If you don't feel like your team is going to win unless you have somebody who has a big day, if you need somebody to take a risk on for a big day, then Jamar Chase probably. But if you need somebody who's just going to like be steady and you can count on to get a decent number of points, probably DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
So that's probably the most in-depth analysis I've ever done for fantasy football in my life because I'm not really I like playing fantasy football, but I'm no fantasy football expert. But yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. Ravens going up against the underperforming Colts this week. I say underperforming because I think a lot of people expected them to have like a really good defense this year like they had last year, and that defense has just not been quite the same. The Colts, they actually rank really poorly against the pass this season in pretty much every major category. It's just, they don't look pretty good. That said, they have done fairly well against the run, which could help them against the Ravens offense that thrives on the ground. But then again, the way, Lamar Jackson has been improving his passing game lately. So I think it could be a pretty tough game for the Colts to pull something off.
The Colts not prepared this game. Lamar Jackson, you got to give it to him. He's been playing at a very elite level. He's been looking like the Lamar Jackson that we've seen that second season. He's actually been looking better. His passes have been very crisp this year. You can tell he really took the time out to work on throwing ability this season. And we talked about on this podcast. When Lamar Jackson want to extend his career, he has to strengthen his ability to throw the ball and pass the ball. And he's been doing a great job of that this year. So, I can't knock Lamar Jackson at all. This should be an easy win for the Baltimore Ravens this game.
Mm-hmm. You wonder if the team that went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs and embarrassed the Broncos is going to show up, or if the team that lost to the sloppy-ass Raiders and the downtrodden and yes, lost. I will stand by that to the shitty-ass Lions. If that team's going to show up, that's going to be the main
you're
difference.
never going to let that one go.
The Ravens have been really up and down this season, so. The Colts aren't really any good, and they don't really match up well against the Ravens. But at the same time, the Ravens have pulled out some stinkers this year. So, you just wonder which team's going to show up. On the last podcast, I said that the Steelers' upcoming schedule is not really very winnable for roughly about, the next month, all the way up until November. they got the Broncos coming up, and then after that, it's just it doesn't really particularly look good for them other than the bye week. Up until they play like the Lions and the Browns in November, or not the Lions and the Browns, Lions and the Bears in November. So I don't know if it necessarily proves the
Bears looking tough too.
Huh? The
Bears are looking better. No, the Bears are looking better.
Are looking better. Okay.
Yeah, they're looking better. I mean,
Well, we'll see what happens. The Broncos beat a bunch of nobody teams before they got exposed by the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
And they got exposed by the Ravens.
Exposed.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily know if that proves that the Broncos are a bad team. I think it does prove that they're not as good as everybody thought they were. But I don't know if one loss to the Ravens proves that they're a bad team. I just think maybe it proves that they weren't really ready to be like one of the best teams in the NFL just yet. But the Steelers are a really bad team. So this could also be like a get right game for the Broncos. You know, I mean, they've been beating these bad teams, so why couldn't they beat the Steelers too?
Yeah, I was listening to the radio. I was listening to the radio the other day, and one of the hosts on the radio was like, a lot of people, like, for years, the Steelers have been good, and a lot of people hate it when we talked about the Steelers on this radio station. Now people can't get enough of Steelers talk because they're trash.
That's great.
Oh my God, the Steelers suck so bad, and it's so much fun to watch. Like it just warms my heart. It's a heartwarming story to watch how bad the Steelers are.
It is heartwarming. It's from our perspective. It's wonderful.
I don't know who's not enjoying this.
Right. For just purely from like a football perspective, though, the Steelers are baffling. Like, honestly, like just trying to analyze what the hell they're doing right now, I can't figure it out because they're not tanking. They're trying to win these games. They're just really bad at it. They're not. So like if they're not tanking, I don't quite understand what they're doing because like they drafted Najee Harris, yet they refuse to use Najee Harris the way Najee Harris is best used. They refuse to put an offensive line around him, and they insist on continuing this crap with Ben Roethlisberger. It seems like I don't know. It seems like they maybe bought into the whole idea of maybe trying for like one more run with Big Ben again, and I think as we can see that the results of that are pretty poor. Yes, Thomas.
Okay. I got one more for you. I got a bold prediction. Okay, let me ask you this: how many more weeks do you think that we're going to see of Ben Roethlisberger? I give it. Can I go first? You want to go first on that question?
It doesn't really matter. I don't think you're going to say the same answer I'm going to say.
Okay, I think that let's see who they play. They play the Broncos, the Seahawks. Damn, the Browns, and then they play the Bears and the Lions. I think that you got. I think you got 4 weeks tops of seeing Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
I honestly believe that. I think that is going to, like, you can't be playing this bad continuously until they're like final. I mean, the Steelers are a smart organization. They have to be. You can't. I know there's pride. I know there's all that stuff, but
they're arrogant.
Players don't really take victory tours in the NFL like they do in the NBA, like the Kobe tour, or the Dwayne Wade tour, and stuff like that. They don't really do that in the NFL. They don't really do that in the NFL. Like, Peyton Manning kind of had that, but not really. So, and like Tom Brady, like when Tom Brady's done, he's done. It's not going to be, Tom Brady's going to go around the NFL one more year. Like Tom Brady's going to be, I don't know, he might. I can't tell the future, but it probably not going to happen like that. When it looks like Ben Roethlisberger is done. Like, it looks like he is done. I do think that he's going to get so bad to the point they're going to have to either bench him, or he's going to step down, or he's going to have a quote unquote injury. I think that's coming. I think that's inevitable.
Are we counting week 5, which is the upcoming week, as one of the weeks that
Yeah, I give him.
Okay.
Yeah, counting week 5. I give him 4 weeks. I give it 4 weeks tops.
So counting week 5, I'm gonna go with roughly 13 more weeks.
You think he's gonna finish out the season?
I think he's going to finish out the season because I think
Okay.
the Steelers are an arrogant-ass organization. And I also think the Steelers, by the time they feel like maybe benching Ben Roethlisberger, I think they're going to realize we don't really have any other options at quarterback anyway. So, and the season's basically over. So why not just let him, finish out the season, and then we'll move on from him after the season's over. But it's just who the hell else are they going to put in there? They're going to put in Mason Rudolph? That's not going to help them with their.
I honestly, I'd like to see Mason Rudolph in this. Like Mason Rudolph would probably do a way better job than what we're seeing.
Maybe a little bit better job than Ben Roethlisberger, but at the same time, Mason Rudolph is not a very good quarterback. Like when the Steelers move on, I actually predict right now the Steelers are going to draft Keaton Slovis in the upcoming draft, and it's not going to be Mason Rudolph. It's never going to be Mason Rudolph. I don't know if Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph's not going to be one of those backup quarterbacks who goes and gets a starting job somewhere else. He very well might be the kind of guy who sticks around for years and years as a backup. But he is not. The Steelers don't believe in Mason Rudolph. The Steelers definitely don't believe in Dwayne Haskins. Although then again, Dwayne Haskins is arrogant enough to fit in with the Steelers. But then again, that's probably because he went to Ohio State and he had to fit in there too.
I love how we're Ohio podcast and neither of us like Ohio State.
God, I hate Ohio State. I hate Miami of Ohio too. And you know what? Ben Roethlisberger went there.
Friends don't let friends go to Miami, dude.
But you know what? In both of those cases, it's because we went to Ohio University, and Ohio University is definitely rivals with Miami. I don't know if you can really say that Ohio University
is weird.
Rivals with Ohio State because we're obviously not on their level.
But it's weird because
Rufus tackled Brutus, and that was great.
Yeah, and I had probably about 3 or 4 professors who never said anything nice about Ohio State at all.
Yeah,
it was more like a school thing, not a sports thing. Like we don't like that school. Kind of like how when you're in high school, you don't like the school next the neighborhood, the school next to you. Like, damn, we really don't like that school. It's kind of like that. It's right. More like it's not that we don't like your football team. We just don't like your whole school, dude.
Well, I think that is as good a place to end this episode as any. So thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast. Thank you to Around the Block, which is the network that we are now a part of.
Shout out to Around the Block, y'all.
You can go find some of my writing work there. I cover the Bengals. I got a Bengals-Packers preview coming up. I'll probably finish it tomorrow sometime when the injury report fully comes out. I'm also doing power rankings for them. And my first power rankings article just came out the other day. And so that was fun. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to break it down on the podcast. But we didn't really have time for half the stuff we wanted to do on the podcast because we take so long to actually get our point out.
Yeah, we do. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about this week, though. There's a lot to talk about this week.
There's always a lot to talk about, but yeah. Anyway, beyond that, you can always find more of what I do at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter and Facebook.com/thephelps. And then you can find more of what Thomas does at T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find more of his content at the Thomas J Network on YouTube and the same on TikTok. And Thomas, I believe you said you were going to start posting clips of the podcast on your.
I will start posting clips of the podcast on my TikTok. That's going to be something I actually plan on doing it. And also another
much more concise, cool stuff from this podcast. A lot of content we're bringing to you guys. I am busting my butt lately. Doing all this extra stuff, and I know Thomas has because ever since we've done this podcast, It's all he talks about. It's just like, man, I got so much going on. It's insane. So,
Let me say this. I enjoy this podcast. Like this podcast is just something like
we don't
this
get paid
is.
for this. Obviously, we wouldn't be 67 episodes in if we didn't enjoy it.
No, I can't like. It's just something unique about making a podcast and having this fantasy draft is just some. I really enjoy the fantasy league because you guys are a part of it. Like, we have so many people, we have so many past guests, and I just appreciate it. And it's just you guys are watching the beginning of something special. I promise y'all. As another Cleveland Indians player, just freaking like my song. That is freaking amazing. This is happening in real time. This is happening in real time. Man.
One last little announcement I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to I didn't want to announce this for sure until I got confirmation and everything. But first of all, don't forget that for the Bengals Browns game in Cincinnati coming up in Week 9, so the first Battle of Ohio in 2021. Don't forget that we're going to we're going to be live streaming from the Bengals tailgate for that game. And we'll have a booth set up. We'll be I'm thinking about making T-shirts. We'll give out beer if you want some beer. And we'll be doing all of this at the Bengal Gyms tailgate experience before the Roar, which I believe is in Lot 9. I'll have to look that up. But come out and see us at that place, y'all. And we will also be having Bengal Jim himself on this podcast, probably the week before.
Bengal Jim. Yep.
Yeah, the Bengal Jim going to be on the podcast the week before to kind of talk about his tailgate and what anybody can experience coming out to the game. And it's one of those tailgates where everybody's welcome, including fans of the opposing team. It's just about hanging out. There's live music, there's beer, there's food, there's good stuff. Just come out and have a good time. It's going to be a fun experience, and it's going to be our first major event that we're doing with this podcast. So. I'm excited. I know Thomas is excited, and I want to see y'all out there.
I cannot wait for it. It's going to be fun. We're going to make it a lot of fun for y'all. There'll be beer, food, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good time. But anyway, with that, I'm going to leave y'all with a Who Dey.
Go Browns.